Okay, I'm going to give it another minute or two. I see some people are still joining today, but we'll get started shortly. Okay, I think we're going to dive in here. Welcome everybody to the NCHEC Ambassador Reporting Forum overview webinar. So this afternoon or morning, depending on where you're at, we're going to review the NCHEC Ambassador Program, which is a program we've had in place since about 2016. But we've had some recent updates to the reporting form, and we also want to, touch base with you and, answer your questions regarding the updates that we're going to talk about or the Ambassador Program in general. Let me get the slides going here. First up is some introductions. My name is Jessica Wessner. I'm NCHEC's communication specialist, staff member, and I'm going to be moderating today. And the webinar will also be presented by Talisha May Gamble. She's the coordinator of the Division Board for Professional Preparation and Practice. So you may have heard it referred to by its acronym DBPPP or simply Triple P. That's generally how we refer to it here at NCHEC, being that it's a mouthful. Before we dive in here, I just want to go over a couple of housekeeping items so you know how to participate fully in today's event. So everybody's muted here today and video's not enabled, but you will have the opportunity to submit questions to today's panelists by typing them into the chat bar. And so I'll go ahead and collect these questions and then we will address them at the end during like our live Q&A today. Also wanted to mention that we are recording and it will be made available on NCHEC's YouTube channel, probably in about 2 weeks. And we will also link to it on NCHEC's Ambassador page on our website. You can always find our YouTube channel or other social media channels by navigating to our website's homepage and clicking on the little social media icons in the upper right corner. Let's see. So before we jump in, I am going to launch a quick poll. So how long have you been an NCHEC ambassador? The choices we have, and hopefully you see the poll, less than 1 year, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, or 5 years or more. If you want to go ahead and answer that one. And the second one is, how often do you utilize the ambassador resources provided by NCHEC? And that one's important to us to make sure that we're getting you the right information that you find useful. So I'll give it just another second or two. It looks like most of you are fairly new to the program, so less than a year, which is great that you're here. We love to see that. We also have a few folks that have been with us from 3 to 5 years, probably returning to learn about the updates, so that's awesome. Question number 2, how often do you utilize the resources? It looks like a lot of you did not know there were resources, so we will definitely talk about that today. Make sure that those resources are available to you and you know where they are and how to access them. And other than that, most of you access once a semester or twice a semester, it looks like. So thank you for taking part in it. Here. There's the results. Okay. So moving right along, now that you have a little better idea, who's with us today, and we understand what you might be looking for with the learning about the program and its resources, I will turn it over to Alicia to jump right in.
Thank you, Jessica. And I did see one question come up in the Q&A. And so if I do not answer that question, then we'll circle back and make sure that we get a more specific response to your question. So NCHEC's Division Board for Preparation and Practice actually launched the NCHEC Ambassador Program back in 2016. The purpose was to facilitate communication between health education programs and the preparation of students for the CHES and maybe even the MCHES exam. There is no time commitment for ambassadors. However, it's recommended that a full academic year be completed as an ambassador. To date, NCHEC has registered over 167 ambassadors at major universities across the US. And then the participating faculty members have pledged to promote CHES and MCHES credentials at their respective campuses using marketing and presentation materials provided by NCHEC. Ambassadors possess active CHES or MCHES certifications. They are employed as faculty at a U.S. academic four-year institution, and they promote the value of certification to students in health education or health promotion programs. So in terms of that responsibility as an NCHEC ambassador, it's a combination of outreach, marketing, and education. Don't let the term marketing scare you, because one of the resources that is available on the NCHEC website for ambassadors is information that could go out towards marketing, so that we're not expecting anyone to build out new materials. We have that for you, and we'll make sure that you all are aware of that website and getting directly to the materials. We also held a prior webinar session where we did a Q&A with new ambassadors as more of an orientation. And so that video can be made available to you as well. So just making sure that you all understand that while you are serving NCHEC in terms of promoting the NCHEC exam and the MCHES exam, the idea is that you don't have to start from scratch, and those resources are made available so that you can provide that information to your students. Jessica, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so I am going to review the 2023 Ambassador Reporting Form. This is actually an update to the form, and it's a pilot form. So as you all are using this to communicate information and report your activities to NCHEC, if you have feedback for us, we'd love for you to provide that feedback. If it looks like this form is really user-friendly and you all are able to report activities that you were unable to report before, or get credit for activities that you were unable to get credit for previously, please let us know so that we can continue to use this form. So the top part of the form provides information regarding the categories and how the completed reporting should be submitted to NCHEC. All eligible ambassador activities can be submitted for Category 2 continuing education contact hours. We do have a list, and we're going to dive more specifically into the bottom half of the form, but we do have a few examples listed of what those eligible ambassador activities are. And please note that there is a space on the form where you can actually list additional activities that you're including, so we can be more specific, intentional about capturing those additional activities. Upon completion of the form by July 1st, 2024. It's usually about July 1st every year, but for this year, July 1, 2024, the form must be submitted to NCHEC via the administrative coordinator, and then the form can be submitted in lieu of Category 2 check continuing hours claim form for ambassador activities only. And so we'll use the next slide to talk a bit about some of the details, but one of the purposes behind this reporting of the new reporting form is to give you more options in terms of activities that you're conducting, and also to give you additional credit for those activities. Previously, there was only 1 credit hour per year, or continuing hour per year, and now you can get up to 3 continuing hours per year and no more than 15 continuing hours per certification cycle. So I hope that provides a little more clarity. Jess, you can go to the next slide, please.
Is that the right slide, the checklist?
I think so. It's okay. It's for some reason when I downloaded it, it seems to be a little out of order, but that's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Would you like me to have you share your screen? Would that, so you're not thrown? I can give you,
No, it's okay. No, we'll start here. It's fine.
okay.
Let's go over the required category. So you must have two activities that are required. Those activities include a 60-minute presentation. And oftentimes when I've done this as an ambassador, I will ask Eta Sigma Gamma to have me a part of their agenda 1 week or 1 month for their meetings. And I'll come in and I'll talk about NCHEC and I'll talk about the chess and the MCHES opportunities. You can also distribute in-check messages to students via email. In some cases, we ask that you post it to social media, and we have some examples of that. And then you can also include information such as the exam registration, the Helen P. Cleary Scholarship, which is very popular amongst my students who are going to sit for the exam. And so we really like to get that information highlighted and to, as a part of your ambassador role, to assist students in submitting this scholarship. And typically they have a form that they're asked you to sign and then also provide a few sentences of information advocating for the particular student. And then there's information about the infographic contest, which a lot of students really get excited about. I know personally this has been a highlight for me because I like to see the results. And recently, if you all check your email from NCHEC, we saw recently the winners of the infographic contest. And so you're able to open those and access those as well. And of course, entrants have an opportunity to win cash prizes, and they have their work featured in the NCHEC publication. And then finally, I'll just reiterate information about the Helen P. Cleary Scholarship. It actually covers associated fees with the chess exam registration, as well as promoting the annual National Health Education Week that's recognized in the third week of October. And so that National Health Education Week is really another opportunity for marketing and to just inform students about what's going on with NCHEC. All right, thank you. So I've talked a little bit about the required category, but now we also have an optional category as well. So there is the marketing, or I'm sorry, there is the mapping curriculum to HESPA, the HESPA 2 competencies. It also provides a chess exam prep course, other activities to promote chess or MCHES, and other credentials of health education from the health education profession. And just a little more information, just some ambassadors actually map their health education and health sciences curriculum to reflect the HESPA 2 areas of responsibility, their competencies, their sub-competencies, and this is an activity that can be used to meet one of the optional category requirements. And then some NCHEC ambassadors choose to provide exam review or chess prep sessions to help students prepare for and pass the chess exam. And this activity can be virtual or in person and can also be used to meet the optional requirement. This is one of the activities that I really enjoy doing. Students often ask questions about the types of materials that they can use, and the ambassadors are provided with some of this information to work with students on. And so instead of trying to figure out what materials can be used to assist students, that's a part of your ambassador packet that you receive when you sign up. And for those of you who are current ambassadors, but you do not have this type of information to share with your students, please just let us know and we'll make sure that you get the packet and make sure you have the resources that you need. Jess, you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, and so for this particular, we talked about it a little bit, but I really want to get into some of the reasons why Triple P decided that we needed to increase the number of credit hours or continuing education hours for being an NCHEC ambassador. So part of it is NCHEC had laid out specific activities about what an ambassador should be doing, but we found out that our ambassadors are doing a great deal more. And putting a lot of time and effort into the presentations and putting a lot of time and effort in with their students and helping them to study. And so we realized that the one continuing credit hour might not be enough. We also receive feedback from ambassadors that they had a desire for this to be worth more since they were doing more work. And so as we went through the specific activities that ambassadors wanted to report, and many of our Triple P board members are ambassadors, and so we kind of talked about our experiences. We even had the discussion of whether 1 credit hour was worth submitting our form. And so what came out of the discussion was that we could provide, and the Board of Commissioners approved this, that we could provide up to 3 Category 2 continuing education hours that would be awarded per year for your participation. But however, we did, so if you do 3 every year in 5 years, you'd end up with 15. So it just puts a cap on the 15 continuing hours in any certification period. Roles can actually be added to this specific form. So as I mentioned, if you have activities that you're conducting and they are not listed in what we have for required and also not listed in our optional activities, it doesn't mean that you can't receive credit for it. We just need to know what those activities are. And previously, the form did not allow you to provide specific information about those activities. And so as we grow to learn more about what you're doing, we can add more information in the optional rows. But we do need more information about what's being included in those activities. Number of attendees or participants, how much planning time are you spending getting that marketing information loaded, or how much time are you spending in these education sessions when you're actually completing that information, and the number of activities being completed. In the future, if we see that a lot of effort and time are being spent in activities that we were not documenting, perhaps we can go back and have the discussion. Next year, I would love to go back to the Board of Commissioners and report your feedback on the change from 1 to 3 continuing hours, and then also on the new reporting form. And so hopefully this will transition from being a pilot form into being the permanent form that we use for NCHEC ambassadors. Jessica? Okay, so completed forms for the 2023-2024 academic cycle must be submitted to NCHEC by July 1st, 2024 to receive credit. Ambassadors can only earn up to 3 hours per year, not to exceed 15 in any certification cycle. And only ambassador forms can be submitted for continuing hours claim without a Category 2 form. So that means that you can't use other services that you're doing for NCHEC to be submitted on a separate form. So this is the only form that we use for claiming credit hours that has its own form. For all other non-ambassador activities, you would need to use the Category 2 claim form or the online portal available on NCHEC's website. Jessica, there are some questions that I think would help if we could go to the ambassador website. I can pull that up
Yeah.
if I would be able to share my screen, because I think a lot of the questions are about the resources.
Yes, let me see if I can pass that over to you. You might be, do you have share screen, Alicia? As a panelist, you might be able to just do that.
Okay.
Your screen options.
It still says host disabled, participant screen sharing. So you may have to click on me as a participant.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you should be seeing the NCHEC website on your screen. Okay, perfect. Over here in the resources tab, you can scroll down to NCHEC ambassadors, and it has information about the ambassador program overall and can answer your questions about being an ambassador, or if you're not currently an ambassador, how you can be an ambassador. And as you can see here, it says receive a free copy of the competency-based framework. We provide that to first-time ambassadors to provide information about the exam for our students. And then we also provide information on the brochures going out, sending out social media messages. Let me see if I can pull up the social media templates. Okay, So here's information that can be posted to social media. So this is where I had mentioned that you don't actually have to come up with this information on your own, but we have templates that can be used for you to post to social media and to other websites. I'm going to go back. That one is for today. Give me just a second. My computer is saying download in process.
Yes, it's a fairly hefty file size, I think. And
Yes.
when you click that, it downloads directly. Yep, you got it.
Okay, are you able to
Yep,
see? Okay, perfect.
yep.
So this is what we've done is try to transition everything to being an online file that you can download. This is a 42 slide presentation, so it took me a little while to download it. I apologize. But this is the education presentation that you can use to present to your students. And it has a lot of the questions that students typically ask about the exam, studying for the exam. And then, of course, as a new ambassador, you would have information that links directly to taking the exam. And I believe mine actually has practice exams associated with it. I would change those up a little bit, but it's a good source for information or a good resource for information related to the types of questions that are asked. So I just wanted you all to see that. But again, this is available on the website. I'm going to go back to the website. And then you can just download it. And as you can see here, when you're doing a presentation, you can download a student sign-in sheet so that you can show the number of students who have attended an activity or a presentation, and then a brochure that you can use to pass out to your students or to send them a link to this as well. So during sort of the COVID period, it was a great time for us to transition into making everything online and available for you to use. And let's see other questions.
It looks like there's some questions about creating a CHES exam prep course and resources that might be available for that, best practices, anything like
Mhm.
that.
So yeah, if you have a copy, it says, does the manual cover everything students need to be successful? So it is just a manual, so it won't cover everything that they need, but NCHEC actually offers information or offers resources, some at a cost, some are not at a cost. And oftentimes as ambassadors, we've made recommendations about types of books that can be used for students, typically taught in health education courses that students really should leverage while they're studying. However, our copy or version of the competencies usually have information on the areas for the exam, and also has information on the number of questions in the exam. And I will say that since I am on the website, it does have some information in terms of the actual exam application, the eligibility, but also information in terms of studying. And I'll click on that. And so I try to come here to tell students, so for example, the companion guide, that's one of the copies that we receive, but it can also be purchased. One of the things that I asked my institution to do was invest in copies of these so that they would be made available for students to use within the study session. And then we can get ideas from other ambassadors about how to put together a study session as well. I mentioned Eta Sigma Gamma earlier, and that's been one of the ways that I have been able to provide this type of information and to form study sessions out of those health education groups, because oftentimes, at least at my institution, institution, that's where a great deal of those students come in who are interested in taking the exam. And then our undergraduate program is still a health education, health promotion program. And so those students are interested as well. Some students just want the website link so that they can go through these resources. But as you can see, we do have posted a list of the resources that students can use that may even be available at your university's library. But using these books that we teach in our health education and health promotion courses would really provide a solid foundation for preparing students within the for the exams, whether it's the chess exam or the MCHES exam, but definitely for the chess exam. And then I see the question, if I'm a staff at my university, does that disqualify me from being an ambassador? It doesn't disqualify you, but what we've been trying to do is ensure that as a staff member, you have access to the students and that you also have access to resources such as the brochure. Of course, you can only serve in that role if you have a current CHES or MCHES certification, but no, it doesn't disqualify you. In fact, that's been a great deal of our discussion recently regarding ambassadors and making sure that we have ambassadors at institutions. But we would probably ask a couple of questions, such as what do you do in your role and what types of resources can we provide to you to ensure that they get disseminated with your students. And honestly, it might just be having the ambassador, not the ambassador, the NCHEC's brochures available to hand out to students. And then, of course, you could still post things onto social media.
If anybody has any additional questions, go ahead and post them in the chat box now. It looks like we will be wrapping up shortly here. Oh, here's one more. This is more of a general exam question. In the event of failing the exam on the first try, how soon can the exam be retaken? I can answer that one real quick. They would need to retake in the next cycle. So if they tested in April and failed, they would be able to retest in the next cycle, which would be October. They do get a reduced fee if they take the exam in that next available window, which would be October, so that it's not too much of a financial burden to retest. But again, they have to take it in the next available option to qualify for the reduced fee. Well,
And oh, sorry.
no,
I'm posting into the chat the links that I went
go ahead.
over. So the link to the ambassador program and also the link to studying for the exam. And thank
Wonderful.
you, Jessica, for answering that question.
Sure. Okay. You are welcome, Lisa. Lisa did, thank you. All right. I hope we did a good job of explaining the program, answering the questions you had. And again, like I mentioned earlier, please feel free to email us or pick up the phone and call. We have a staff of about 8 people at our national headquarters in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And we are always available to answer questions or connect you with our
Mhm.
division board members. Any way we can help out, let us know. And thank you so much, Talisha, for leading that today. It was very
No problem.
informative.
I do
And
have one
again,
more request, Jessica.
oh, yes,
As
go.
you're closing us out, can you post
Mhm.
that the last slide on the screen? That
There
way,
is
when others want to come back and watch the
sorry,
webinar
I
later,
did
they can see that.
miss that. Thank you
It's
very
because we
much.
were closed out and switched over to me, and I shared
Got
my
it.
screen.
Oh, am I not sharing again now?
Right.
Is that okay? Hold on just a second. I think you might need to stop. Did you stop sharing?
Yes, but I think I can pull that slide up for us.
Okay.
And
There we go. That's an important slide. That's all the many ways and places that you can reach us. highly encourage social media because we post a lot of things that would benefit you with the maintenance of your credential, not just with the ambassador program, but our phone number is there as well.
Yes, absolutely. As well as the email. So if you all have questions, please feel free to follow up with admin and they'll get the questions over. And as I mentioned, many of us over at Triple P are also ambassadors. And so we kind of know the array of experiences that you all have and some of the questions that might come up. So please feel free to reach out.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.